As diplomats arrive in Abu Dhabi, one demand from Moscow remains unchanged. Russia says Ukraine must leave Donbas. Ahead of rare three-way talks between Russian, Ukrainian, and American officials in the UAE, the Kremlin made it clear it is not backing down from what it calls a key condition for peace, the withdrawal of Ukrainian forces from eastern Ukraine. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said Russia's position is well known, insisting that Ukrainian troops must leave the Donbas region entirely.
So at 4 in the morning, we heard Yuri Viktorovich's cheerful voice. Please tell me, how did the others endure this arduous Kremlin work marathon, the negotiation process? How are their health, well-being, mood, and work capacity? Thank you.
Everything is completely normal. The thing is, a lot of intense work is being done. This is a very important and serious topic. Extremely important and very complex, and so naturally during such serious consultations, time is usually not a concern. We of course do not wish to publicly delve into the specifics of the provisions currently under discussion. And for that reason, exactly what specific formula is being referred to as the Anchorage formula, I am unable and unwilling to tell you. We consider it inappropriate to disclose that information. It is a widely acknowledged fact that the Russian Federation's position is that Ukraine, specifically its armed forces, must completely withdraw from the entire territory of Donbas. They must be evacuated from there. This is a critically important condition. There are also other nuances that remain on the agenda for the ongoing negotiations. Regarding the funds that have been seized in the US, I won't disclose the precise figure either. I will say it is slightly under $5 billion. As you know, the President in his statement was speaking about the decision to allocate $1 billion from these arrested, restrained, unlawfully held assets within the territory of the United States to the World Council, with the intention that these funds distributed through the World Council would be allocated for humanitarian assistance and purposes in Palestine, specifically for the Palestinian people. This particular topic, by the way, was also touched upon yesterday during Putin's negotiations with Mahmoud Abbas. Regarding the remaining funds from this sum I mentioned, Putin also said that they could be spent on the reconstruction of territory, specifically those areas that have been affected by military operations. In this context, I can now say one thing. The territories located in Donbas have indeed been significantly damaged during the course of military actions.
Could you name any other members of the Russian delegation, apart from Admiral Kostyukov?
They are military. These are members of the military. They are representatives from the Ministry of Defense. We won't be disclosing their names at this moment. These are all military people. So this is the working group established for security matters. These will be the first negotiations. As you're already well aware that, in actual fact, late last night, they received their specific instructions from the highest authority of the state. And they only flew out there this morning. So now, upon their arrival, they will be determining the precise timing of the proceedings. But we should keep in mind that the negotiations are set to happen specifically today and tomorrow,
if necessary. And regarding the second group, which focuses on economic matters, it's understood that negotiations will take place between the Russian and American sides only, without Ukrainian representatives. Can you tell us anything about these meetings, when they're planned, and who will be attending?
Well, also today or tomorrow, Kirill Dmitriev will be in Abu Dhabi, and he'll be with his interlocutor. That interlocutor will be Steve Witkoff. We'll be continuing the discussion.
So will they only meet on this topic, just the two of them?
To the best of my knowledge, that is still true.
Yesterday, Kursk region governor Alexander Kinstein was in an accident and had surgery. Did the Kremlin send words of support to Kinstein? Did the president call him?
Certainly, he passed it on, and from the president, they passed it on to him. The president, you see, he's about to place that call to him. But contacts with the Kremlin had already been made, and they were established almost immediately, in fact, as soon as he emerged from the anesthesia. Alexander is truly filled with resolve and determination despite experiencing such a serious accident and sustaining such significant injuries to continue his important work. We are fully supporting him in this. We know he is a strong and determined man, and we wish him a very speedy recovery.
His comments came after Trump said both Ukrainian and Russian presidents were ready to make a deal.
I had a good meeting, but I've had, numerous good meetings with President Zelensky, and it doesn't seem to happen. It's funny, I put out a 35-year war in a day, a 32-year war in 2 days, and other wars, the worst was like 4 days. And this one goes on and on forever, and actually they may have been more complex. And they'll make concessions. Everybody's making concessions to get it done. Europe is going to be a part of it. It's going to be a part of it. Look, it's more for Europe than for me. I mean, I'm doing this more for Europe than for me. I'm doing it to save lives, number one. I'm doing it secondarily for Europe. I'm not doing it so much for the U.S. It doesn't affect us very much. Other than the loss of lives, we're not affected by this deal. It's thousands of miles away. We're separated by an ocean. But I have an ability to get things done like this, and we'll see if I can get it done. I mean, it would never have gotten done. I thought Putin wanted the whole thing. Maybe he does, but he's not gonna be going there unless we don't make a deal. But we had a good meeting today with President Zelensky. I think a very good meeting. And what's happened here is there were times when Putin didn't want to make a deal, times when Zelensky didn't want to make a deal, and it was like opposite times. Now I think they both want to make a deal, but we'll find out. It's pretty tough. It's really tough on the people of Ukraine. I'll tell you that. How they live without heat, where it's 20 degrees below zero. It's very cold. That's a colder climate for the most part than Canada, and they live without heat. I asked them, how do they do that? And he gave me an answer. It's pretty amazing what they do to live. There's no way to live, yeah.
Ukraine has rejected the demand outright. President Volodymyr Zelensky says territory remains the central issue and the most difficult one as the sides prepare for what could be their first direct public negotiations since the war began nearly 4 years ago. High-level delegations from all 3 countries are converging in Abu Dhabi just a day after U.S. President Donald Trump met Zelensky in Davos, and hours after Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff held late-night talks with Vladimir Putin inside the Kremlin. Despite an accelerating diplomatic push, the gap between Moscow and Kiev remains wide. Russia currently occupies around 20% of Ukrainian territory, and President Vladimir Putin has repeatedly warned that Moscow will seek full control of eastern Ukraine by force if talks fail. Ukraine, meanwhile, has warned that any territorial concessions would only embolden Russia and risk another invasion down the line. Zelensky says the Donbas is a key issue, adding that while the talks could lead to peace, the outcome remains uncertain.
Питання Донбасу ключове. Його будуть обговорювати і обговорювати модальності, як 3 сторони це бачать в Абу-Дабі сьогодні і завтра.
Ukraine's delegation includes senior military and security figures, while Russia has confirmed it is sending an all-military team led by GRU chief Igor Kostyakov. The United States will be represented by envoy Steve Witkoff, with Jared Kushner also expected to take part. After hours-long talks with U.S. officials in Moscow, the Kremlin said discussions were useful, but stressed that until a political settlement is reached, Russia will continue pursuing its objectives on the battlefield. President Trump has said he believes both sides are close to a deal, but warned that failure to reach an agreement would be stupid for both Moscow and Kiev. Yet territory remains the sticking point. Russian strikes this week have plunged much of Kiev into darkness, leaving thousands of buildings without heat in sub-zero temperatures. As talks begin in Abu Dhabi, the question now is whether diplomacy can overcome a war still being fought town by town and inch by inch on the ground.